Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Le'ilu nishmas imim rosirus was Mordechai. This Yitzchak says, I found myself in the Rutgers Chabad meeting this morning and felt among family when one of the college kids did this right after davening, couldn't even wait to take off his talis and fill in, learning the daf. Rabbi Sai, here we have the three from contractors on top of a building every day now. Every day. The whole neighborhood knows them already. They do the daf. They wanted to do the daf here. It's 5 stories up. Okay. L'chvayt Rebelli. You mentioned 2 Reb Chaim Shulevitz in the last 2 shiurim, the story of the Bachar Volozhin who ran out in the middle of the meal and didn't even say Birkas Hamazon. And 2 times 12 isn't 24, perhaps. When Rebbe Akiva heard his wife say how precious his learning was, he got a new asirus to learning Torah, and he knew that if he waits even to say hello to his wife, he may lose that new cheshek, your Talmud Abba Rennert. Shkoyach. I just wanted to submit an idea I had. Now, if a day goes by and I don't have a new idea, I go a little meshuk. I love ideas, and I like this one a lot. It would be nice if MDY created some kind of chavrusa pairing system for people who can't watch the shir and would gain from going over the daf together with someone else from the shir. Example, in my case, would be that I watch it in the morning, would be great to go over it again, and can also do Rashi, include it together with another person from the shir. All the best. Shmuel Baum. Doilam likes the idea. No. We have Tomer Levy here. He'll put it in the new app, Ezra Hashem. Joel Ehrlich, you may or may not recognize my name. My twins, Ephraim and Eitan, were classmates with your son Akiva, Yeshiva Teferes Tzvi, before you made Aliyah. I'm sure we met casually at some school function. I'm also a regular Mispal Yeshiva Brisk, Vasikim Minyan. You followed as a treasured honor guest when he was in town. I've been with you since the beginning of Kesubos. It's amazing. A new guy in Chicago. Love it. For the first time, I actually look forward to the daily shir. I've been meaning to drop a note, appreciate it for a while. Last night, I was at the YTT, the school, my 2nd grade son's parent orientation, and discovered the attached plaque outside of his classroom. I've never seen this, so for me, it's geschmack. I took it as a sign, because what happened was they hit me up for a classroom, and then I moved like the next week. And I didn't pay them. They're like, hello, you promised, pay up. I'm like, but my kid's not in school anymore. Too bad. They were right. I paid it up, but I never saw the plaque. Thank you for all you do to spread the support of Torah. Hashem should grant you and your family with all the brachas and attach this highest calling. Joel Ehrlich, Yishkoyach. Joel, be part of that chabura, be mechazik the chabura, get more people. We need more people like you. We have a very, very interesting daf today, and we have a bunch of guests. Ruben, you said? Shimi Rubin from London. I know he was up from 4 o'clock in the morning. He was corresponding with me 4 o'clock in the morning. This guy.
I was updating you on the cup game.
I don't even know who they are. The Koilo is sponsored by Avram Rachel Kamiansky in memory of Rachel's mother, Reza Gidubas Esther. Rita should be Militzi Yosher on behalf of us and our children. The second sponsor for the Koilo, for the success of our family, that we merit to always crown Hashem. The Masech, the sponsor of Yisroel Baruch ben Moshe Aaron Moshe Elazar ben Nota Shalom, and hatzlacha for my children. Second sponsor of the Masech, Jeff Rosner, zchus of my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Chana, Refuah Shlaima. Okay, you didn't say amen, we'll say it again. Jeff Rosner, zchus of my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Chana, Refuah Shlaima. Shkoyach. Michael Ben Mela, Motty Perl Aaron Hirsch, to be zchus to make it to Uman Rosh this year, you don't have to say amen. Second, Parnas HaChodesh, Le'nishma Zechariah ben Moshe. Third, Parnas HaChodesh, the MDY Family, Le'nishma Ezra Yaakov ben Yitzchak, Ezra Pollak, Shalom. And the fourth sponsor, by the Lock and Lebovic families. He was here yesterday, he's here today. Get over here, Rabbi Lock, get over here. By the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is the best gula. Yesterday, when he left, he gave me an amazing gift. First of all, I got to show you this to you. It's a water bottle, but it's like a material inside. Insulated. It's insulated with the 8-minute daf logo in the insulation. But that's not it. Just in case I ever take this up. Rabbi Sai.
Now you have to wear it though. Put it on. You have to wear it.
Team MDY. Wow, it's the real deal. What else? And there's more. There's more. You can get this on Amazon, right? Amazon, not on our MDY merch website. These are chashav. What is this, a yarmulke?
It's writing set.
Yeah, I know. Wow, it's unbelievable. Yishkoyach, thank you very much. Thanks for all the support, by the way. Yishkoyach. You want to tell us the ma'aseh that happened and all that money fell into your lap? I put you on. It's true? It's a emes ma'aseh?
I
Wouldn't make it up. Yishkoyach for the gifts. I got 2 of these, by the way. 2. Unbelievable. Okay. Happy birthday to Yisroel Dov Farkovits. May today's learning be a zchus for him and the whole family, Mommy Totty Asher Zelig Farkovits. By Chana Klein. I'm assuming this is Shlomi Klein's wife. Happy birthday, Shlomi Klein. She's not the first one to tell me about the birthday. Other people said, you gotta mention that. Last night was his Hebrew birthday, so today is his birthday. May we keep bringing light into this world in our home. Unbelievable. Refuah Shlaima for Shmuel Alevi ben Shena Chaya. And Aryeh and Simi Kogel in honor of those involved in the shir for the Siyat Shmai and all that we do. Amen. By Yochanan Belsky, Rabbi Isa, Yochanan Belsky, in honor of my Bas Yechida, Chana Tziril's wedding tonight, September 8th, in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. He's the one that donated that beautiful menorah over there, and we have those glasses for Siyumim, a lot of stuff. Yochanan Belsky, Shkoyach, should have a lot of nachas. The zivik should be oilo yafo. And finally, by Eli Greenberg in honor of Aberrenert. The one we just read his email. Keep up the great work. Okay. The official is sponsoring the Masechta. L'Refuas Avi Mandelbaum. Avraham Mנשה ben Chana Rachel? Bracha, Chana Bracha. Refuah Shlaima Yishkoyach official. Okay. We're holding Daf Samachay Amud Aleph. Welcome to the guest. There's a few people here I didn't say hello to. Okay, afterwards. Who? Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Originally from Holland, now from Manchester. I'm going to be coming, Be'ezer Hashem, for a scene with Masechtas Kesubos. We're going to make a big announcement when and how. But you're from London, you're from Manchester. Maybe. Tonight, by the way, I'm going on Zoom with the Manchester Chaver. So if you live in Manchester, we'll have a shmooze. You can ask me anything you want. Zok the Heilige Gemara. Doresh Rabbi Yehuda ish kfar. Oh, it has nothing to do with me crying yesterday. I just can't see anymore. No, yesterday I went back to the video. I was like, for Avi's sake, I couldn't. He was so strong and this and that. And he said it like that. I'm going to sit here and cry, but I was crying inside. Doresh Rabbi Yehuda ish kfar. Gevira. Does it say Gimel or Nun? I can't even see. I'm not kidding you. It has nothing to do with my lens. I thought it was the tears between my lenses. It's different. V'amri ish kfar nifar. Hey, give me those glasses for a second. It's wrong. That's why I can't read it. I don't know about Peh. Here we go. Omar Rav Tuvi. We just gained a few lines. Ishkoyach, thank you. Wrong daf. 2, 4, 6. It happened to me once in Chicago. I was giving shir. Prepared the wrong daf. They knew. I didn't know. I was saying the wrong daf. Omar Rav Toivi bar Kisna Omar Shmuel. We're going to have to do Amud Aleph a little bit quicker than usual so we can get to Amud Beis, which is Shas Katan and Yanim. So says Shmuel, that if a woman rebels and she is engaged, she's in Arusa, that's when you write in English, I don't know if you're familiar, but if you have a business and somebody doesn't behave, you write them up. In order to fire someone, you have to write them up 3 times. You write her up. Meaning, from now on, we're going to start deducting money right off her Kesubos. 7 dinner per week. So that's the Koisen Igeres. Vein Koisen Igeres mered Hashemeres Yavam. But if she fell Yibum, so you don't write an Igeres if she doesn't want to be Misyabim to the Yavam, she doesn't want to marry her ex-brother-in-law, her late brother, her brother-in-law, you don't write her up. You don't deduct money from Kesubos. Meisvei. But how does this fit into what we learned yesterday? Achas li arusa nusua. It doesn't matter if she's arusa nusua, afilu nida, afilu chayla, va'afilu shemeres yavam. She's considered a meredis, and you do deduct from a ksuba. We have a contradiction. On the one hand, we say we deduct from a ksuba. On the other hand, we don't deduct from a shemeres yavam. Like Ashia, kan shetavahu, kan shetavahi. If he demands to marry her and she says no, then you write her up. You deduct from a ksuba, kan shetavahi. And if she demands to get married, then we don't deduct. So Shmuel says, Kaisim ala arusa, not on shemeres yavam. Right. So over here, we won't add to her if she demands to get married. We're not going to take from the husband and give to the yavama. If he demands to marry the yavama, we listen to him, we help him out. Why? If she demands, we don't help her out because she doesn't have a chiyuv of pruvu. As we're going to see soon. Says Gemara, Shmuel, you're telling me that it's talking about that she demanded. Well, the wording is not good. What's the wording? It says Shmuel that you write her up, it says. Igeris married ala rusa. It should be for the arusa, not on the arusa. She's getting paid up by the husband, so it should be for li. It says al, that you write her up. You're not writing her up, you're writing him up for not complying. Okay, so for now, we're just going to have to fix the wording. The Gemara is going to take it back. But for now, we'll say, okay, it does say la arusa. We write him up to give to her. It says Gemara, get out of here. Let me fact this. You're not mechuyev in pruvu. Arusanami, name Allah, zil, let me fact this. So when she is engaged, say the same thing. Now, Rashi points out that a married woman, I think it's Rashi, a married woman, you can't tell her, oh, the husband is not rebelling because you're not mechuyev in pruvu. He is rebelling, even though she's not mechuyev in pruvu. Why? He has a chiyavayna. Nothing to do with the pruvu mitzvah. There's a chiyavayna. And if he says no, then you punish him. But when they're engaged, there's no mitzvah of ayna yet. There's only a mitzvah of pruvu. El beba machmas taina. So Gemara says, okay, she's not mechuyev in any mitzvah here, but she has a great argument. The Amra, bi'ina chutra liyada umar l'kvura. Who's going to take care of me? I need children, not for the mitzvah, for selfish reasons. My own personal reasons. Who's going to take care of me when I'm older? Who's going to walk me? Who's going to hold on to my hand and accompany me when I get older? Who's going to bury me? I need somebody to take care of me. So when she falls the yibum, she has the same taina. I want to marry the yavam so somebody can take care of me when I'm older. You're right. Okay. Both cases are when he demands. And therefore what? We're going to go back. We don't have to change the gerson. Now, you don't have to say la rusa. It's ala rusa. We write her up, not him. V'lei kasha. Kan lachloit, v'kan liyabim. If I have it already, and Yaakov Ayal made it, we might as well show it for all the new guys that have never seen this. One of a kind, $2,000 shoe, and it's only 1 out of 2. Imagine if you had to buy a pair of these. Here. This is chalitza. This is the chalitza shoe. Huh? Oh, good. That's why you hang out in that Tesla every morning, huh? Okay. When his demand is to do chalitza, then you write her up. She doesn't want to do chalitza, write her up. Liibam, not. Now, by the way, I just hope, as I'm learning the sugya, I'm hoping that we don't lose a lot of people now. We're talking about yibum, and during Masechtas Yevamis, people just like flies. You have no idea how many people I bump into the street. Yep, I was doing good until Yevamis. Bracha, Shabbos, Erev, Yevamis fell. I'm not exaggerating. If like 150 people told me that, and that is just the people that told that to me. including my own children and my children's friends, and so I don't want anybody to fall out here. But you should know, and again, I like ideas. I called up Yoshi, the artist, 2 days ago, spoke to him for 36 minutes. I said, we have to start working in Yavamas. I want to start working in Yavamas, knock it out of the park. Next time we come around the cycle, I had this dream, but I didn't realize how hard it is. I wanted to do every shir, start off the shir with like a video, a movie, like characters of what's going to happen in that shir. And then I thought maybe people will stick around. Another thing is I do think it wasn't such a great idea to kill off some of my best friends every year. And I don't think people appreciated it. But when we did the potato head, let's say, I think people, the potato is dead, and crush him, smash him with a truck, electrocute him, whatever, do all sorts of things. So if anybody has great ideas for Yavamas, please let me, I'm serious, I'm starting to work on it now. Zok Gemara. Especially if you have a friend that dropped off, and every one of you has one, I know, because they're out there, get him back for Kesubos. Come on. Third. What? Bye-bye. They went bye-bye. Zok Gemara. Domar Abitas Omer Rabbi Yochanan Tova Lach Loy Tzkaken Loy Tova Liyabim Ein Tzkaken Loy. Here, it seems counterintuitive. If he only wants to do chalitza, then we help him out. If he wants to do yibum, we don't help him out. Even though the main part of the mitzvah is the yibum part, we don't help him out. Tosfos asks, what do you mean? Help him out. Let him do chalitza. Like, what's the problem? You might ask it a little bit further, but it's the same kind of question. Let him do chalitza. The answer is that it's going to cost him ksuba. It could be it's more for later. Okay, maybe I jumped the gun here. Don't remember that's not Rabbi Yochanan. Tava lachlois is kakalei. Tava liyabim is kakalei. Maishna liyabim deloy. And the Gemara explains why not. Damrin lei zilvan siv itzachriti. We're not helping you out. As we're going to see soon, it's not so good to do yibum in our days. You want to do it? We're not going to help you out. So, but what's your taina? I want a wife? Okay. There's other wives in the world. For that, we're not going to help you out. So when it comes to chalitza, let him say the same thing. So tell him the same thing. What do you have to do chalitza? Go marry somebody else. It's not good for shidduchim. On my resume it says that I have this shomeres yavam. She's still attached to me. You never know. You might marry her. You have to detach yourself from her. And since that's not the case, people might not marry me, and therefore I want to get rid of her. And over here, Tosfos says, so get rid of her. What's the problem? Give her chalitza. Yeah, but if I give her chalitza, then I'm going to have to give her ksuba. Okay. So she could also say the same thing. Since I'm a shomeres yavam, nobody's going to marry me. You're right. Both of them were talking about that he wanted to do yibum. So we have two cases. He wants to do yibum. He wants to marry this woman, and she refuses. And in one case, you write her up. In the other case, you don't write her up. It's not a contradiction. It was 2 periods of time. This not mitzvahs yibum, kedem mitzvahs chalitza. We learned in the Mishnah it's better to do yibum than chalitza. Because in the beginning, there were chavan shem shamayim in the mitzvah, and it's all about what we have in the head. Achshav, but in our generation, that's what you're talking about 2,000 years ago, or 1,500 years ago, shem iskavan shem mitzvah. Amru, mitzvahs chalitza kademis la mitzvahs yibum. So certainly nowadays, the mitzvah of chalitza comes before the mitzvah of yibum, and that's why we don't write her up. If she refuses, now we're not going to tell him what to do. It's his choice. We advise him, don't do yibum. It's not a good idea because we're not mechaber. But we're certainly not going to help him out. If we're not going to help him out, and she refuses to do yibum, then she doesn't get written up.
Did you say he has to pay her a ksuba if he does chalitza?
Yeah.
And she collected a ksuba from her husband who was nifter?
No, that's the same thing. It's the same one. Yeah, that's the same one. It's that he. It's just from his estate. Ad Masayu Poiches. So we had in the Mishnah that she loses 7 dinner a week if she rebels against her husband, and he has to add to her ksuba 3 a week. The Gemara is now going to discuss why the difference. And Rabbi Yehuda comes and argues, and he says, no, it goes by tarpikin. Says the Gemara, my tarpikin? What kind of, what's the currency exactly? What is it? What's the value? Orav Sheshes. Istira. Stira. Sometimes the Gemara does that. Like the man is tapichas b'dvash. And what's tapichas? Whatever. Okay, so it's tarpikin. And what's tarpikin? Istira. Doesn't help me. V'kam istira. Palgid zuzah. It's a half of a zuz, which means that Rabbi Huda is basically saying 50% of what the Tanakama says. He's saying the 7, he's saying 3.5. Three tarpikin, which are 9 ma v'chetzi l'chol yom. I don't want to scare anybody. These are the type of sugis that people check out, but I did some cool charts here I want to show you. And this is really for Amud Beis, but we'll cheat a little bit. So most of us, a lot of us are familiar with the dollar, unless you live in England or South Africa, but hopefully you know a little bit about this.
Like the euro.
Yeah, but not exactly. So it goes like this. $1, just so you're not scared of this. It's not scary. $1 is 4 quarters. And each quarter has 5 nickels. And each nickel has 5 pennies. So if you do 5 pennies times 5 nickels times 4 quarters equals 100 pennies. Every dollar has 100 pennies. How do you get to that? 4 quarters, something. So we have something similar to that. Not exactly. So I decided to do it this way. Here, the dollar, instead of a dollar, it's called a sela. A sela has 4 dinar. It's like 4 quarters. And each dinar, instead of having 5 nickels, it has 6 ma. Now, instead of each ma having 5 pennies, each ma has 2 pundions. So what you have here is 48 pundions per sela. It's not scary anymore, right? Shkayach. Now, if you're from England, it's still scary. Sorry. How was it? Should we do it again? A dollar has 4 quarters, which has 5 pennies, which has 5 nickels, which has 5 pennies. And then the sela, we'll call the main piece is a sela. It has 4 dinarim. Each dinar is 6 ma, and each ma is 2 punyons. So you have 48 punyons. You don't have 5 pennies. You only have 2 pennies at the end. So you only have 48 punyons per sela. Okay. So he's saying it's ma v'chetzi l'chol yom. So you take 1.5 of these, the 6, 1.5 per day, times 3, equals shloisha tarpikim, 3 tarpiks. Yeah, 3 of these dinar things. Yeah, but the tarpiks, each one, 1.5, 1.5 is, 1.5 plus 1.5 is 2. Yeah, is 1. 1.5 and 1.5 is 1. Is 1 tarpik. 1.5 and 1.5 is another tarpik. 1.5. 2 1.5s. 2 1.5s is one tarpik. Okay, fine. 3 tarpikin. Says the Gemara. Panovich. Amalei Rebbe Chia bar Yosef l'Shmuel. Maishna ihi di avinu lo de Shabbos. Now, what did we say? We said that each day is worth 1 dinar. She gets punished. If she rebels against her husband, we remove 7 dinarim from her ksuba. In other words, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Shabbos. Every day of the week. 7. The Shabbos. And why is it by her that she doesn't get, we don't take away from the husband, we only give her 3. How do you see that we don't give? How do you see that we don't count Shabbos here? Anybody? Why don't we count Shabbos? Huh?
Because it's included, if you do the math,
Yeah.
1.5 ma equals 3 tarpikin.
Oh.
Obviously, Shabbos is not.
Oh, very good. 1.5 ma times, 1.5. Like we just did the cheshbon. 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1 is 6. Only 6 days. 3 tarpikin. Each tarpik is 1.5. And there's 3 tarpikin. So we're only counting 6 days. You cut each tarpik in half. 3 tarpikin cut in half is 6. We're only counting for 6 days, not for Shabbos. Oh. Listen, when you're awake, listen, I have something for you. How about one of these? Come here and get it. Get over here. He gave me two. He's a big biker. Look, he got the answer right. He got his jersey? He snarred one. Yeah, you didn't have to snarr. Avi, Yishkoyach, welcome. He's the man behind the scene. He does all the coffee for everybody every day. Yishkoyach, Avi. You deserve this. Yishkoyach. Says Gemara, Ihi. The mifchas kopachis. Lo mechzik is schar Shabbos. Says Gemara, okay, we're talking about Shabbos here. If you take off from her ksuba, you deduct every day, so it doesn't look like the husband is making money on Shabbos. He's just deducting from her a total of 7 per week. But when he rebels against her and he has to pay her money, he's actually adding money. Adding money is mechzik is char Shabbos. It looks as if she's gaining on Shabbos. Daf Sadik Samach Dalet Amud Beis, sponsored in honor of Yankee Bam and Moshe Horn, Brach V'atzlacha Chol Hayanim, zchus, being able to support them in that Torah and to finish learning Shas with the rebellion. Omar le Rabbi Chia bar Yosef l'Shmuel. Ma bein moired l'moredes. What is the difference between somebody who rebels and if she's a woman, she gets penalized 7, and if he's a man, he only gets penalized 3. Omar le tzei ulamad meshuk shel zoynus. See what the Metzias is. Mi soiches mi. Who hires who? So the zachar suffers more than the nekeva, so therefore the man pays less when he is rebelling against her, and she is causing him more pain and aggravation, so she has to pay more. Dover acher, ze yitzro mibachutz, v'zu yitzro mibifnim. It's a physical thing. The man has more embarrassment, more busha when he doesn't have a woman, says Rashi. Yitzro mibachutz, kishuyo nikar umizgana. It's interesting that you see over here an amazing thing. The Chacham took into account a person's busha. We see this by Kefal, by Arba v'Chamisha. The man has more busha, he gets paid more. She has less busha, she gets paid less. The tsar, the first teres, the second teres, the busha. The way he treats us. When we have busha, when we have tsar, everything has a cheshbon. Every tsar, everything in the world has a cheshbon. Zok the Mishnah. Hamashres ishtay de shalish, the official Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Kol zchus for Uman Rosh and continue hatzlacha and parnasa. Hamashres ishtay de shalish lo yivchas la mishnei kavim chitim. Interesting. If a person in those days, they had more than one wife, so sometimes the wives lived separately in different houses without the husband. So you'd have to send her a certain amount of food. They were all vegans then, it seems like. Sent her a little wheat. He sent her shnei kavim chitim. Wheat, 2 kav of wheat, which equals 48 eggs worth of wheat. Now she has to take the wheat and do something with it. Just to grind it, etc. Or double the amount in barley, because barley, it takes double the amount to make barley bread. So you give her 4 kav. Omar 96, right? 40. Omar Rabbi Yosef, Loi pasak la sa'irin, Elo Rabbi Shmuel shoy somach la Edom. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. He lived over there in Edom, so that's why he's talking about barley. V'noisen lo chatzi kav kitnis, beans, very important if you're on a vegan diet, has a lot of protein. V'chatzi lug shemen, very not good to eat. B'yomeinu, 4,000 calories per pound of oil, the worst of the worst. But in those days, they used to use oil for lights. So, little shemen lema'ar and a little oil for the food. They kav grois and a whole kav of 24 eggs worth of dried figs. So you had to give her also dessert, it seems like. Yummy stuff. Like here, I have a picture of, here's a dvela. It's pressed figs. That's how they used to sell it by volume. The main loy, If he doesn't have these desserts, he gives her other fruit to make it up. In addition, a husband is mechuyev to give his wife a bed, different types of mats, a softer one, a harder one. Gives her a yarmulke or some sort of scarf for her head, and a belt for her loins. Every yantiv, buy her a pair of shoes. V'kelim, and clothing, shel chamishim zuz, mishal shana, 50 zuz worth. Wow. Just thinking about it now. 25% of her ksuba. It's worth of clothing. So 25% of a salary, actually. It's unbelievable, of a yearly salary. Clothing. From year to year. Don't give her brand new clothing. They only had one. They didn't have summer and winter clothing. They had one type of clothing, but they would wait until it would be worn out, so it was thinner. So don't give her brand new ones in the summer because it's too thick. And don't give her the worn out ones in the winter. What you do, you start off in the winter giving her brand new ones, and then she uses those worn out ones in the summer, and that's enough. And any leftover remains hers. Nice and law, we had this hatzlacha, give her an allowance, a weekly allowance. Why? To buy the miscellaneous things, says Rashi. And she eats a meal with him from Friday night to Friday night. Some are going to learn that it's a mashal. It doesn't mean a meal, it means relations. And this we had already, the Gemara explained, if he doesn't give her that extra money, spending money, and we learned that doesn't really mean her Maisi Yadayim. What does it mean? The Moisar, the additional, above the 5 shekel, the weight that she wants that she has to make every day. In addition to that, anything additional to that remains hers. And how much does she have to produce for him? Mishkal Chomesh Sloim Shesi B'Yehuda. The weight. She has to make a certain amount in terms of weight, not in terms of length or value, but in terms of weight. Chomesh Sloim Shesi B'Yehuda. What's Shesi? So we had the chart. Here's a machine that they would work on, and Shesi are the long strings, the pink and green strings on this machine. And over here you see it a little bit clear, and that is there's the threads that don't move, the ones that over here are going up and down, the vertical ones, and then you have the erev, which is a thicker one that goes back and forth. Now, to make the shesi, the vertical ones, is much harder because they're thinner. So it's double as hard to make a thin thread than to make a thick thread. Anybody could do a thick thread. To make it very thin is a mumchishkeit. That takes double. So if she makes half the amount of shesi, she's good. She has to make double the amount of erev than shesi in order for her to be yaitza the amount that she's supposed to make that day. Mishkal chomesh slayim shesi b'Yehuda. Shin eser slayim begalil. First of all, in Galil, the weights are different, they're double. So it's the same amount that she has to make in Yehuda as in Galil. Just in Galil, they call it a different amount. Or Mishkal Eser Slaim Erev Yehuda, Shem Eser Slaim Begalil, or she could do the thicker thread, but she would have to make double the thicker thread because it's half as hard to make. If she didn't do one of her 7 jobs, one of them is to nurse. In other words, she's busy doing something else. She couldn't do her job she was doing her job of lahanik. It's one of the 7 things. You could take away from what she has to produce. I'm going to see he has to add more food because she's nursing. All this is said, a very poor person, a person that has money, hakol, the fee, everything in the Mishnah, whether it's the food, whether it's whatever it is, the beds, everything's fee, only sleeps on American mattresses. If he's Israeli, you want one of the yeshiva beds, and Shalom Yisroel, whatever it is. Says the Gemara, Mani Masnisa. Oh, I forgot to put it in. Over here, Shas Kata Rabbi Say. We're going to go through Yishmaka stuff. It's going to be over in 8 minutes, so don't worry about it. We already did a lot of it today. Loi Reb Yochanan Broika, V'loi Reb Shimon. This Mishnah, L'chayra, doesn't go according to Reb Yochanan Broika, not Reb Shimon. Why? It's not. V'kama shiuroi. So we're talking about over here a Tchum Shabbos. Tchum Shabbos means that if your house over here is at the end of the city, you're only permitted to go 2,000 amma on Shabbos. That's it. So what do? You want to go to where the red box is. And that's 4,000 amma away from your house. So there's a trick. You take 2 meals, over here they're depicted as 2 breads, and you put them a little less than 2,000 amma from your house, or 2,000 amma from your house. And now halachically, your house just transferred from where it is physically to where the breads are. So now you're allowed to go from the 2,000 amma in each direction where the breads are. You're allowed to go from the breads in each direction 2,000 amma. So now you could go another 2,000 amma to that direction, and you could get to the red box. Or you could go back to your house. But you cannot go 1 inch from your actual house in the backyard, because that's already the end of the 2,000 amma. That's not your real house anymore. The house that looks like a cartoon house here is not your house. Your house is where the bread is. And you can only go 2,000 amma from the bread. And it stops at the house. You can't go 2,001 amma. Okay. How much bread do you have to put there? 2 meals worth. How much is a meal? That's the sugil. A little bit of Panovich math. Says the Gemara, the Shabbos. It's enough food to eat in the weekday, but not a Shabbos meal. No, it's Shabbos meals, not weekday meals. They're both saying the same exact thing. Why? Remeir used to eat a lot of bread. He used to eat it with the fish, and then he'd dip it in the soup. And then when he had his meat, he'd put some meat on the bread, because he ate a lot of bread on Shabbos. And Rabbi Yehuda, on Shabbos, would eat a lot of the food. Very little bread. And he'd eat a lot of bread in the weekday. Kitzur is the same exact shear. Fine. Says the Gemara, however, Rabbi Yochanan Broika Omer. So basically, Remeir and Rabbi Yehuda are saying depends on the person, depends on how he eats. Okay. But Rabbi Yochanan Broika Omer, Kikar halikuach bepunyain, mi'arba soim l'sela. Great. Scary words, but not really. So let's do this again. Over here you have $1. $1 is 4 quarters. 1 quarter is 5 nickels, and 1 nickel is 5 pennies. Same thing would be with a sela. 1 sela equals 4 dinar. 1 dinar equals 6 ma, and 1 ma equals 2 punyain. In other words, there are 48 punyain per sela dollar. Now, what could I purchase with $1? When I can purchase 4 sa with $1, with a sela, in the time, whatever that kufa was, when I was able to purchase with 1 sela 4 amounts of wheat called a sa, 4 sa, 1 sa equals 6 kav. And 1 kav equals 24 eggs. So, how many, what do we have here? We have 48 half calves. We have, 48 half calves. We have 24. We start from the top, the 4 bushels. 4 times 6 kav is how much? 24. So how many from the 4 bushels, how many half calves could we buy? 48. What's interesting is the 48 matches the 48 punyan, exactly. We have 1 sela equals 48 punyan. 1 sela could purchase 48 half calves. It's perfect. It's very easy. Yeah? 1 punyan buys a half a kav. Now I need to buy 2 meals. A half a kav equals 2 meals. That's what he says. Says Rabbi Yochanan Broika, a half a kav equals 2 meals. That's what when I could purchase 48 half calves with a sela, so a half a kav is 2 meals. Okay? How many eggs are in a half a kav? A dozen. There's 24 eggs per kav, so a half a kav is 12. So how much is my bread? 12 eggs, a dozen eggs, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika. Rabbi Shimon Omer, shtei yadais lakikar, mishalish kikars lakav. Oh, so this is even simpler. From one kav, a kav is 24 eggs, I can make 3 breads. If I can make 3 breads, he says, if I can make 3 breads from one kav. So that means each bread is 8 eggs. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24. I have 24 eggs, I divide them into 3 breads. Now, I'm taking 2/3 of one bread. How many meals do I have in 3 breads? 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 meals. I take 2 portions, which is 2/3 of a bread, which actually equals 2/3 of 8 is 5.3. 5.3 eggs, he says. Rabbi Yochanan says 12, he says 5.3. Okay, it's 2/3 of one bread if you can make 3 breads out of a kav. I think it's simple. Huh? Okay, so far so good. Says the Gemara. Oh, let's see it inside. Shtei yadais, 2 portions, likikar, for 1 loaf of bread. Mishalish kikros, if I can make 3 breads, lakav, from 1 kav of 24 eggs. If I can make 3 breads, 8 eggs each from 1 kav, fine. Next halacha. Chetzia lebeis hamenuga. A half a bread, you see on the bottom, which equals, if each bread is 8 eggs, a half a bread equals 4 eggs. And that's halacha that says that if a person goes into a tzaras house and walks right out, he becomes tameh, but his clothing are not tameh. But if he spends time in there, then his clothing become tameh. How much time? Pras. Pras means half. A half a loaf of bread, as long as it takes you to eat, kedei achilas pras, as long as it takes you to eat a half a loaf of bread, has to be from this grain or from that grain, easy. Okay. Next halacha. Now if I take that half of bread, which is 4 eggs, and I cut that in half, I'm left with 2 eggs. What's the significance of 2 eggs? If a human being eats 2 eggs worth of tameh food, he becomes tameh himself and he cannot eat truma. Now if I take that half of a half bread, the 2 eggs, and I cut that in half, what am I left with? Kibeitza. What's the significance of a kibeitza? According to Rabbi Shimon, this is all Rabbi Shimon, but it seems like everybody agrees to it, the whole Shas agrees to this concept. And a half of a half of a half, I'm left with 1 egg. If the egg, I have 1 egg, I need at least 1 egg's worth for it to accept tumah. If something touches it, a sheriff touches it, it becomes tameh. It has to be at least an egg's worth. If it's less than an egg, it doesn't become tameh. Mani. Now let's go back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says the husband gives support to the wife. What does he give her? 2 kav of wheat. And that's supposed to last her for what? The whole week. How many meals does a person eat in a week? L'chayra, 14, 7 times 2. How do you have 14 meals? If you just look at this chart right over here, how many meals do you have in 1 kav? 9. And he gives her 2 kav. How much is that? 18. It's too much. Can't be nice to her. It has to be 14, not 18. Okay. Mani, let's see Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika. It comes out, I just made a chart. Stam, you should know that according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, 1 loaf of bread is 12 eggs, and according to Rabbi Shimon, it's 8 eggs. Now, half a kav, according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, we said before, is 2 meals. He has to give her 2 meals. So 1 kav is 4 meals. 2 kav is 8 meals. Where does he come up with 14 meals? You need 14 meals. If a half a kav is 2 meals, so a full kav is 4 meals, times 2 is 8 meals. Where's the 14? Tamne Vi Reb Shimon Tamne Srei Havit. 16 meals according to Reb Shimon that we did over here. 9 plus 9 is 16. 18. Sorry, 18. 9 plus 9 is 18. Tamne Srei Havit. Loilam says the Gemara, we're talking about 8 meals. Ukdomar Rav Chizda. What does Rav Chizda say? You forgot about the third that the guy selling, he has to mark it up. He marks it up a third. Now, not Gemara third, not American third. In America and in the rest of the world today, it's 50%. We call this 50%. you have to add 50%. He makes a 50% markup. So 8 plus 50% of 8, which is 4, right? 4 plus 8 equals 12. We're really dealing with 12 over here, not 8. We were talking about the final product. We forgot about his profit. Why is it called a third? Because it's milabar. In the Gemara, you take the final amount, which is 12, and you take off a third, and now you're left with 8, which is, if you start with 8, you add 50%. But in Gemara, you start at the end, your final number is 12, and you take off a third, milabar, and now you're left with 8. Fine. We're not getting into that now. But Rav Chisda says we have to consider his profit. What's his profit according to Rav Chisda? A third. Says Gemara, you still didn't answer the question. Where do you get the 14? We only got the 12. Says Gemara, I got the 13 because she gets a free meal, as the Mishnah says. She eats with him on Friday night, so it's 12 plus 1 meal, it's 13. We still didn't get the 14. He doesn't give her a free meal. We're talking about relations. Another problem is that you didn't get the 14, you only got the 13. 12 plus 1 is 13. Remember what Rav Chisda said before? How much is the markup? A third. And now the Gemara says, the markup is a half. Half in Gemara language, which is milabar, the final amount. So, you have here 16. 16 minus a half, because we're starting at the end. You have 16 minus 50% is a half. So you get to 8. In English, or it's called 100%. The 100% markup. If you have 8, he does 100% markup, he gets to 16. We're talking Gemara language, you start at 16, and you take off 50%, you take off 8. Okay. That's the Gemara. First of all, question number 1, you said the markup is a third, and now you're saying it's 50%. Like Kasha, it depends. If you offer the guy making the bread wood, so he gets less money. Just yesterday, somebody told me that he picks olives. He has next to his house. He lives in a yeshuv, has crazy amount of olives, free olives, and he gives it to a factory. And either he pays them money and he has olive oil for the rest of the year and he's a caterer. Either he pays them cash or they take part of his olive oil. That's what it is over here. Take half. You have to give him stuff. But at the end of the day, it's 16. 50%, yeah, 16, not 14. Come on. Right? Is either shalosh sudas, 3, or arba sudas. He says 4. Taisus and brachas, by the way, proves from this Gemara that when you do shalosh sudas, you must eat. I shouldn't say it because I learn instead, which is not very good. I admit it's not lechatchila. Taisus proves from this Gemara that you're supposed to eat bread for shalosh sudas, not peiros and not learning and bread. Yeah, by not saying a shir Matzah Shabbos. Woo! Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. I should fix it. You're right, I should have to do tshuva. So you add the 4 meals of Shabbos. I feel tamer. So, but he's a yachid. Says the Gemara. I feel tamer rabbana. Dal chodel orche parche. Then the day you have 1 meal that he must give to her for the guests. Very interesting that Moshe finds in Paskins. We know this psak, but why? I'm supporting my children. I don't have to support them. They're already bar mitzvah. Why do I have to support them? So could I take off money from my meiser money? The answer is no. Because your children happen to be your wife's guests. They're the arche parche of your wife. And you're mechuyev to give your wife guests. That's what he paskins from this Gemara. Hashdas lachi. I feel the time Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says there's 18 meals. Take off this shal shudas. Take off 3 for the guest. So she needs 15. Reb Chitka dal tarti la'archi parchi. And according to Reb Chitka, take off 4 meals. Tarti la'archi parchi and 2 for the guest. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.